welcome to Athcast Music, the music of Athens, Georgia, now and then. I am your host, Marlene Sokol Stewart. And today is a great day for me because my next guest, that means plural, are Dana Downs and Michelle Roche. Yep, we got two mints in one, and they are good mints. Dana hails from, Columbus, Georgia, Fort Benning. She was an Army brat, so she came to Athens to go to school. Michelle is from Stone Mountain. She says that she used to run around the Stone Mountain. If you know what Stone Mountain is, it's a huge rock in Stone Mountain, Georgia, hence the name. So she was more or less an Atlantan, but she's here now. They have both been here since the Big Bang. What is the Big Bang? It's when the explosion happened in Athens, Georgia. And they were both big entities. Dana, as a musician and a beautiful singer, Michelle was always taking care of business. She was managing bands and publicity and all those type of things. They both showed how well they fit into the music scene of Athens, Georgia. Here is my conversation, I'm going to say my fun conversation with Dana Downs and Michelle Roche. Well, here we are, ladies. Finally. I can't believe it. It had to be, 2 years ago? Maybe even 3, maybe? That I met you at the Nowhere Bar, and I was just thinking about doing my podcast, and you're like, woohoo, we'll be on, just call us. But it was kind of difficult for us to make the dates work.
We travel a lot.
Yeah. And so do I.
Yeah,
So I was like, wow, we're finally doing this. This is going to be so much
Here
fun.
we are.
And I think it was a 5/8 show, wasn't it?
It was, and it was the first time I saw 5/8.
Yeah.
Very first time.
That was a great show.
The week before, I think it was the first time I saw Dave Barbie. Because I wasn't really going to a lot of shows at the Nowhere Bar and some of the other things, 40 Watt and stuff like that. But I was on the business side of Athens for so long, and now I'm kind of on the music side, the fun side.
Welcome to the music side.
Yeah, welcome.
You're on the tats side, as we call it. You got the tits side and the tat side.
Oh,
so
good.
now you're on the tat side.
I'm the tat? Oh, good. I don't have any tats, though, but hey.
I do.
Yeah, well, okay. You can wear, everybody else I know does, so.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you guys just tell me where you're from a little bit. You know, we don't need to know, you grew up here, you walk the sidewalk down to school there, and, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know much about you guys as far as where you came from. I'm going to start you.
Okay. I was born in Fort Benning, Georgia. I'm an Army brat, so I grew up all over Europe, United States, went to high school in Hawaii.
Oh.
Yeah, it was nice. Came to the University of Georgia. I was in my freshman dorm with Vanessa from Pylon.
Really?
Yeah, I met her when we were both in Creswell Hall. We were the normal girls, as I like to say. But, I went to school here, had a great time, had always played music. And then when I graduated, a band had lost their cello player, and Nicky Generis said, do you want to play bass? And I said, sure. I knew how to play guitar, but he's like, you got it. And the Tone Tones were born.
Oh, wow. And who were the members of those?
It was myself, Nicky Generis, Vic Varney, and David Gamble. Rest in peace.
Oh,
yeah.
And, our first gig was opening for the B-52s at the Georgia Theater.
Which was crazy, you guys.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Our second gig was opening for the Police. We went on a little mini tour with the Police. We opened for Joe Jackson. Pylon's first gig was opening for us above Chapter 3 Records.
Wow.
And then after that, we're in a bunch of different bands, Vietnam, Go Van Go, moved to Germany to play music.
Really?
Yeah.
What part of Germany?
Cologne.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a band there, and we toured a bit. And then I had...
How long were you there?
3 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was fun. And I had another, it was called Montana Blue, was the name of the band, who was expat from Vietnam, not from the band Vietnam, not from Vietnam.
Oh,
but
okay, I'm confused.
No, we played around, and then I met some other musicians, and we had kind of a salsa band called Athena and the Soul Masters.
Ooh.
It was fun. It was very fun. And then I came back to Athens and started playing music again. And
That's so cool.
just been,
You picked up right where you left off, I
I
bet.
did. Came back here, had my daughter, Ella Grace, and then we moved to Charleston for 9 years. And that's both of those albums are from my band in Charleston. And then after about
And what are the
years,
names of those?
the band's name was the No Seams.
Okay, and the titles of the
The
album?
titles of the album, the first one is Subterfuge. And then it's got, they're all original songs, some that Herb and I wrote together. And then the other one is 9 Ways to Cross a River, which is, I wrote inspired by this book called 9 Ways to Cross a River. And we did a multi-visual performance at Spoleto Festival.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't know why, but I love that title. I don't know what 9
9 Ways to
Ways
Cross.
Across-
The book is wonderful. Akita Bush, it's beautiful.
I'm going to try and read it because when I saw that, it caught my eye.
It's wonderful story, and she literally swam across 9 rivers, and the songs on the album are about kind of her journey, and about each of the rivers. And Mary Edna Fraser, who's a batik artist friend of mine, while Akiko came to Charleston and read from her book, and Mary Edna's visual, she does batiks of aerial shots of rivers and things. It was all very river.
Well, it sounds
oriented.
awesome.
It was really, really cool.
So you're just playing when someone says, "Hey, come on."
All you gotta do is say,
or-
Dana, you want to come sing?
Yeah.
Y'all want to play? Yes, I do.
I'm there
I do.
because I see you play a lot with a lot of different
Do
people.
because
But I
I'm
love
always
that.
I'm always happy to sing.
And it's so Athens.
Yeah, well, and everybody's playing with everybody in Athens.
Yeah, it's so
Mhm.
when they talk about the Elephant Six Collective and everything, Athens is a collective.
Yeah.
As far as
Dan Horowitz plays with everybody.
he does, he
played
does.
with me.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Michelle, tell us your song. Tell us your story.
Well, I grew up in the Stone Mountain, Clarkston area, and here in Georgia.
How many times you climbed that mountain?
Oh, I used to run around the base of the mountain, so it's 5 miles. I used to be a runner back.
Oh, wow.
I ran cross country in high school,
Oh,
but yeah, and no, and then I also went to UGA and graduated in 1985. And it's funny because you mentioned Dave Barbie, and he's now of course, the head of the music business program at
Yes.
UGA, and he and I were in journalism school together,
no shit.
and we had almost all of our classes together in J school, and we always sat together, and it was interesting. It's that we go that far back.
So you got Barbie and she's got Vanessa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way back. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, and
We're old
and
school
and then
Athenians.
he was in bands, and he and I both kind of have the same sense of humor, so we would just crack up at the professors when everyone else was just like went over
And
their
now
head.
he is one.
And yes, yeah. So I go way far back with him, but so my major was. Back then it was called radio, TV, and film.
Yeah.
Now it's called telecom. This was back before the internet,
Telecom.
telecommunications.
Yeah, I know, but I would never call. I
Yeah.
guess okay, maybe.
But yeah. So after I left UGA, I worked for Channel 5 in Atlanta for 2 years, and then and all this time I was always a music fan. My mom was a huge influence on me, and I grew up watching The King and I and Hair and West Side Story. We both love
Yeah.
I do.
music.
I
We
do
both
too.
can
musicals.
sing the
Yeah.
entire soundtracks.
Oh,
of
I
most
can sing
Broadway
Hair.
stuff.
Yeah, there's after a few cocktails,
Yeah.
we've done that quite a
Oh, yeah.
bit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, invite me.
And oh yeah,
I'll
we
be
have-
the
we have a
backup
good time.
singer.
But yeah, so it was. I ended up kind of falling back into the restaurant business after I left the TV station, and then just by happenstance, I took a job at a jazz club in Buckhead, and it was I loved jazz even when I was in college, and after college I went to a jazz club in Atlanta all the time. So I ended up becoming an assistant manager at a jazz club, and worked with. I mean, we brought in big names. Maynard Ferguson.
Mhm.
I mean, Harry Connick Jr. came one night
Mm.
and did our open mic. Russell Malone, Freddie Cole, Nat King Cole's
Yeah,
brother,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
because of my history with my mom, I was a big Nat King Cole fan. But uh, yeah, and so that's when I kind of had a light bulb moment because I did have the degree in journalism, and the club needed a publicist, and I said, "Well,
I'll do
what
it.
you, yeah, why don't you give me a chance?" And it was like, boom, light bulb that this is what I wanted to do with my life.
Isn't it strange how that works out? Because that's kind of the way I got into TV. Someone
Mm,
said to me, "Hey, you need a job?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I do."
yeah.
And he's saying, "Well, come on over to WLTX in Columbia, South Carolina. But you got to run camera, you got to work the board, you've got to do audio, you got to learn how to run the commercials. You got to, I mean, it was
Yeah,
everything. You learned everything."
my background in TV has been invaluable, doing PR. I dealt with local TV.
Well,
So
I did too.
I worked at the
So,
jazz club, and then I just started, and I recommend this to anybody that wants to get experience in the music industry. Is the music business program is great, but I'm self-taught. So what I did is I just started finding local bands that I really liked, and I kept my full-time gig, but I was helping bands on the side, and I just loved it. And I loved it so much that I quit a very good job with health insurance to pursue that.
that's quite
And
a feat because you know how that is today, but
and then I just kind of, just hustled, worked like 70 hours a week, making the connections. Made a connection with a great woman who's still my friend, Fiona Bloom. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We started a little company called Roche and Bloom,
oh,
and people to this
nice.
day remember us. I mean,
Wow.
when we're together, they'll
That
go,
is
"Oh, Roche and Bloom,"
amazing.
and then like that's when I discovered bands like 5/8, became a big champion of theirs.
Well, this list of yours is crazy. 5/8 of Montreal, Vigilantes of Love, which I love that one album of theirs.
Yeah,
Gosh.
Bill Maloney's a great writer.
Yes. Pylon,
No,
Pylon Reenactment,
yeah.
excuse me, Society. Dashboard Saviors, Flat Duo Jets. You know what? Duo Jets. I did not know that about that band until I came to Athens, and I saw
Mhm.
them in on the film Inside Out,
Oh,
Mhm.
they're wonderful. Dexter.
and
Yeah.
I could not get enough of listening to them. I mean, I just had no idea about this band for some reason. I mean, we
Yeah.
we sold a lot of music out of Athens in our record stores, but I never heard them, but I could not stop watching it for about 2 days.
They're
Watch.
actually from Chapel Hill,
Yes,
but
but
They're
people.
honorary
but
Athenians.
Yes,
yes,
I mean
exactly.
they spent a
Sometimes,
lot of time here.
yeah,
I mean, like
Yeah.
Dexter lived under some stairs,
I
like
know.
literally,
Like,
and then because of that film, Athens, GA, Inside Out, and they were in it, everyone just thought they were from Athens, but they did spend a lot of time
Mhm.
no, they
here.
did because why would they be in that film if they didn't?
But you can imagine working with Dexter.
No, no, I can't.
It
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so funny that because do you know who J.D. McPherson is? The
The song, yeah, the
yeah, the guy
songwriter.
right now.
Mhm.
He's kind of that kind of genre also, but more of a modern day.
Mhm.
And I could see that that kind of music back then with them, but it was so raucous
Mhm.
and it was so raw.
Well, he was the biggest influence of Jack White. I mean, if you saw that film,
Yes.
what was it called? It Must Get Loud.
Yes,
And
yes, yes. I have seen that.
he talks for a long time and uses footage of Dexter Romweber. And if you go to Third Man Records, it's like Flat Duo Jets
Yeah, and
records
I think
everywhere.
Jack White was in that part of I saw that footage of Jack White talking about them. I'll say
Hmm.
that. I can't remember. I go through so many things. But the Glands, Randall Bramblett, Widespread's Panic, and then you're part of AthFest, and good God, you
Yeah,
guys,
Vic Chestnut and
yeah, Vic Chestnut,
Jack
and
Logan.
all these people that have really been uh, imp- or pertinent to the evolution of this music here. Um, I read an article, and it might have been um, It was from the flagpole, I think. And it was about you, um, or you and Vanessa were quoted in it.
Was it for children of
Yes.
women in rock? My daughter
Yes.
wrote that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I wondered, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, because I was really wondering uh, how the music business was for women back then. But you said, just to quote you, or this is Vanessa first. You just have to look at the very beginnings of the music scene, even before the B-52s.
Yeah.
There have always been women performers here in Athens, Briscoe Hayes said. I think we always felt that we were always equal to each other and that Athens is more laid back than other music scenes and more welcoming to diversity. Don't you think that Athens, and this is to both of you, that Athens is welcoming to anybody? They accept
Oh,
most people.
absolutely.
Well, it might be a little harder these days, but
For real, when
still,
you
for
when you
real.
move to Athens,
especially musicians.
when you move to Athens, you're from Athens. Then there's no like being in Charleston. You'll never be from Charleston unless you were born there 200 years ago. But in
Right.
Athens, you're welcome with open arm. Everybody plays with each other. And when the Tone Tones first started, we were like the first punk band after the B-52s, and we found it very easy to get gigs. But mostly like I still do. I play by invitation because I don't actively seek things. They're like, "You want to play?" I'm like, "Yeah." But
Why
it was
not?
always welcoming.
Yes.
When I lived in Atlanta and I played for a band called Vietnam, it was a lot more competitive, which Athens is not. I mean, bands don't really. Some of our Cosmo Junior shows, it'll be mostly fellow musicians in the audience.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
all support each other.
Oh gosh, and then when Rick Fowler and Tommy Jordan put that big thing together, what is it called? The
I
super
love the
band?
Wild Jordan Tomcats.
that's it.
Oh my
That's
God,
it.
it's so much fun playing
Oh
with
my
those guys.
gosh.
It's just
I
joyous.
honestly cannot stop dancing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's our goal: laugh, dance, or cry. So yeah, no, it's fun.
And how you were playing with some of the big boys already before you came here. I mean, you were
She worked
you
at
know,
Capricorn.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You worked for Capricorn, which was a pretty big label for a long time. And it fizzled out, but I think you left before it did, didn't you?
No, I mean, I worked for 5 different record labels, and so my
that's like-
first
yeah.
record label was Sky Records in Atlanta. After
Yeah.
I was like independent for a couple years, and championing bands like 5/8, I finally got a job with a label, and brought 5/8 to the label. Just bugged the president until he finally just acquiesced and signed him. But Capricorn was the last label that I worked for. And then when they were sold to Volcano Records,
Yeah.
the whole music industry at that time was in turmoil
Yep.
because of a little thing called Napster.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, record labels were losing money. They
Left
could
and right.
not figure out how to monetize.
So were
digital
record stores, by the way.
Right, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
whole industry was
Yeah.
in turmoil. So I was one of the I mean, I was around, and when I started at Capricorn, we had 42 employees, and we had offices around the country.
So how many women were in that whole? I mean, did you work with a lot of women or did you work with a lot of men?
Oh, actually, like at Restless Records, where I worked for 4 years in Los Angeles, it was about 50-50. And then there were a lot of women at Capricorn. Not many executives. I mean, it's publicity has always been like the woman's thing. So I mean, I was the VP of publicity, but all the other departments, retail, radio,
Yeah.
general manager.
So you really didn't. And when you came to Athens to work, did you find any? When did you come to Athens to work?
So after Capricorn finally folded, that was in 2002. And so that's when I packed it up and moved back to Athens,
And the rest is history, as they say.
Well,
But
We
I-
bought our house in the same neighborhood on the same day.
it literally, I mean, look,
you guys,
some people would
It's
call
meant to
me, bleeding heart liberal. I mean, back in, think about that. That was 23 years ago. I mean, 23 years ago. That's
Just saying.
crazy. But Athens, it's a little
That's a
blue
little blue
dot.
dot.
I'm scraping this cup.
It's the blue dot, and I love the community here. Now, it's
So do I.
changed a lot, but it's still. I travel all over. She and I travel is both of our passions, and we travel together. We just got back from Cumberland Island, and we've been to Costa Rica together. But I mean, the whole vibe of Athens is so different from Atlanta.
So what does it mean, first of all, that you guys were part of this town's music history, not just as a participant, but as someone who helped shape it?
Well, I was at the first time the B-52s played at Julian Gray's house. And we were all into David Bowie and Patti Smith and loved television. We were very much into that. And then all of a sudden we had our own band that was better than anything. And that actually inspired the Tone Tones and inspired a lot of people. And we didn't think about anything like legacy. We were just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just pure fun. Every time the Bees would go to New York, we'd go up there with them, and
But you helped shape it too, just by booking and working with them and publicity or whatever you did with them.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of like a little bit younger than her, so
quite a bit.
she was in that whole phase of establishing the music scene.
Yeah.
And then, which I loved when I was here, seeing REM and at Legion Field, and
I'm so jealous, just to let you know
catching
right here and now.
Warren Zevon, Wheel of Cheese with REM, and seeing the Squalls at the church. But that wasn't at that time. I didn't know that's where my career would go.
Mhm.
But then, when that's the direction that it went in, and we were talking about that light bulb moment, and I feel very blessed because I think a lot of people never have that light bulb moment. They get into something because they want to make money, and that's what their parents told them, that you have to have a steady job and make money. God forbid you do something that you're passionate about and figure out a way to make money.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but then
Exactly.
it was great to kind of, after Athens was established, to be able to be so involved with so many local artists.
It's funny you talk about passion because I grew up in a family of 10, and
Wow.
my twin and I are the 9th and 10th. And everybody left us, one by one, off and away they
Mhm.
went. We never really learned about what passion was. I didn't know what it felt like to have a passion for most of my life.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so jealous when I hear
Mhm.
people talk about how passionate they were. They knew this was it. And honestly,
I always knew I
are
wanted
you
to
ready
be a
for this?
musician.
But this podcast is the first thing in my life I've been absolutely passionate about.
Well, yay.
That's awesome.
Good.
The first thing
So-
I was passionate about was Mickey Dolenz.
First,
Okay.
first thing I was passionate about was Elvis.
And then it was
surfing.
David.
Oh,
Then it
Elvis,
was
yeah.
David
Yes, yeah.
Cassidy.
Well, I didn't really call that passionate.
Oh,
I thought that was more obsessed.
yeah, I agree.
I
But no.
mean, every album of Elvis Presley, and oh my gosh, I'll never forget Love Me Tender, and watching it the first time, and literally my parents were like, what is wrong with you?
Elvis is melting you.
I mean, just, oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, just cried and cried and cried. Well, tell me, how do you guys think women are faring in Athens today?
Very well. Very well. We went to the Normal Town Fest,
Mm-hmm.
and I sang with the Asymptomatics,
Yeah.
but I stayed for all the shows, and there were so many women fronted and all women band. I was loving it. I thought it was great. This band called Hotel Fiction, led by two
They're
women.
coming on here.
Amazing.
I can't wait.
They were amazing, and all of the bands were
I
really
was
good.
gone,
But I
yeah,
was
so.
impressed to see, especially the younger girls, like the 15-year-olds and stuff like that, up there playing and thrashing away. It was great. So I think women are faring very well in this environment.
So you guys kind of seeing these up and coming bands coming, and it's
we
quite
love going
different.
to music shows.
Oh, you know I do
I know
too.
you do.
But we see these young people coming up. How is it like? It's not exactly the way it was, isn't it real similar to how everything started exploding, the Big Bang in Athens. I mean,
It seems now it seems more kind of almost ingrained and organic to Athens because there's just so much back and forth. So many people, like you say, the Elephant Sisters are just like trading riffs, trading bands. We sing with my band. You want to do this?
so they're still doing
They're
that.
still doing that, and a lot of people are still doing that, and it's fun.
We've had several women on.
Yeah.
Um, you're, I think, well, besides Vanessa, I believe you two are the first that is the kind of then of my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I do then and now and all that. So I'm trying to work on the now a little bit.
There's some great.
But I got to tell
there's some
you,
great
I think
female-friendly
I'm going to be
bands.
dead before I interview anybody or have a conversation with everybody in this city. It is, I hear a new name almost every day. Oops.
Yep.
Almost every day.
There's tons of bands.
Well, I think another thing that makes Athens different, what I think is so cool, that there's a whole group of people like our age. I mean, you look at Vanessa. I mean, she rocks Pylon
I
Reenactment
know.
Society, and she's probably pushing 70.
Yes, she
Or
is.
maybe over
Well,
70.
we try not to
and
No,
talk
she's
about
not.
age on
She's
this show.
69.
but I
But
mean, there's a
yes.
whole I mean,
I'm
the guy's
70.
in 5'8". Mike is just
I
he's
know.
like 62, and he
No,
can
they're still doing it.
and there's not a I'm trying to think out how there's not a prejudice
Yeah.
about
Old folks
about
like us
older
playing
I know.
music.
so
I'm
like
worried
when you
about
go
me
to,
on this podcast.
I mean, when you go to AthFest, you're gonna see a lot of older people up there rocking it. Look at Connor Tribble, who's playing tonight. I mean,
No, I know. He was on too.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was fun.
He's great.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God, that
God.
was so
we
much
love
fun.
him.
you're not gonna. I'm telling you, you're not gonna go to Atlanta and other markets, and I mean, yeah, you might see celebrity, well-known artists that are doing
Mhm.
it, but it's just like the regular, everyday musicians that are getting together and playing, and
And the age thing doesn't
the
matter.
age thing does not matter because, like, the asymptomatics you talk about, up and coming band, they're all like in their early 20s. And yet Deb Wall, who is part of the original music scene,
I-
she plays percussion for them,
Yeah.
and they love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met her. I've only met her once,
She's
but
she's
I
my
probably
drum-
have seen her more. I mean, just because I don't know who I'm looking. I don't know the
she's
people.
my drummer on all of my CDs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And her brother
I've been-
Dan owns Wuck
Buck
Street.
Oh,
Yeah. Dan Wall.
Dan Wall.
Dan Wall. Wait a minute.
Dan Wall owns Wuck Street. Dan and
Who,
Mark.
who owns the Wuck Street in Atlanta?
Dan and Mark both own it together. I've worked at all of them. I'm an old Wuck Street girl.
Okay, I didn't think,
Lots of us rockers got jobs at
because
Wuck
when I
Street.
worked for Koch, Wuck Street was my account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark is the one that's in charge of the Atlanta store.
Yes.
And Dan in this one.
Forever.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's so
It's
funny.
an
I mean, I used to go to
institution.
all the stores. I only came to Athens a couple times to talk. I usually did the Athens one because I had such a large territory. I couldn't do everything. Well, I'm just going to get a little political here, just a little. Nothing major.
Card
believe me.
carrying radical right here. Go for it.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm not going to go that far. But how has the infrastructure for musicians changed here? The venues, the promoters, the support systems, audiences. Do you feel that Athens is still giving the support to the musicians and the studios and arts that they really need to be? Because sometimes I question it.
Well, I think for me, I'm really against that any to pay to play kind of stuff. And for example, when we played at Smith's Old Bar,
Hmm.
we had a bunch of people come, but we had to pay the doorman out of our pocket. We had to pay the sound man out of our pocket, and I think that's bullshit.
Oh,
I think the
totally.
club
Well, they
should
they
pay
paid
their
it
own.
off the door, so
Yes.
they take it off
They
the
take,
door.
but that's
No, but
our
that
money. That's we
sucks.
brought that.
It
No, it
happens
does
all
suck.
the time.
Yeah. So they.
Does that happen here?
Yes.
It happens all over the
All
country.
over the place, and here too a lot. I think
Really?
the club should pay their sound men and pay their
Yeah.
doorman, or else I'll bring in my own sound man and my own doorman. Well, back in the day, I would do sound if we didn't have
And
it.
there are some clubs too that also take marketing.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, and $60 towards marketing. It's like,
Yeah.
no. I mean, it happens. I mean, I manage an artist now, so that's what I segged into artist management, and I've been
Mhm.
managing a guitarist now, Stefan Rimble, for 4 years. So I'm dealing with venues all over the country, everything from Monterey Jazz Festival to, small clubs in New York City, and it's crazy. And then what's really crazy,
It's really crazy.
and I don't find that be the case in Athens. We got a great person, Troy Aubrey, but
Yeah,
the
I
what
work with him a
really
lot, so
burns my ass is they want to take like 20% of the merchandise sales, even if they're not providing.
They're not providing
don't-
sellers.
So
they're,
you know
they're
what? When
providing
I
a
left
table.
It's like-
Koch, this guy wanted me to be his management, his artist, management, and I think I did it for a week. I'm serious. I said,
Yeah,
"Fuck
no,
this.
no,
I am
exactly.
not doing this.
Yeah.
I
for
am
real.
not chasing somebody around,
No.
not to call me back, not to tell me that
No, it's
listen to you have to be. That was it for me. It was that. That's it. But
you do a lot of hand holding, and his wife says I'm his psychiatrist too. But the venues around the country, I mean, that they try. I mean,
Everybody's trying to make money.
They're trying to make
trying
money.
to cover their ass, and I understand it, but it's. I mean, basically, as musicians, I figure the way I work, I probably make about 5 cents an hour.
you know what? I know.
So, but
because-
it's like
well,
I don't care.
as
I,
a
you know,
manager,
we
I
all-
probably make
most-
$5 an hour.
Yeah, most of us all have to have other jobs.
Yes, and the musicians too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the thing is that right now, the only way for musicians to make money is to tour.
Yeah.
I mean, the big ones, the little ones,
Oh no.
or anybody
and
else.
That's how
It's
you
the
get.
only way.
That's how you get
It's
out there
not,
and sell your merch.
You don't
Yeah.
get to sell
Yeah.
records and get,
Mm-mm.
$5 from BMI and ASCAP
Yeah.
and that type of thing. In fact, I remember talking to Tony Rice at the Country Music Hall of Fame one night at an event, and he told me that he was flat broke.
Yeah.
Tony Rice,
Yeah.
the greatest bluegrass. I mean, Jesus.
Well, a lot of
And-
the corporations take the money. They then they have to pay back for
And,
their
and
album
God rest
making.
his soul,
so-
he's passed now, but he said, I can't. I get these residual checks, and they're for $10 or
Yeah.
something like.
I've got
you
one
know-
for 32 cents from from BMI.
Woo-hoo! All right, so I have to ask you this: do you think you would ever leave Athens?
I'll say right now, I'm here permanently forever. My house will go to my daughter, but I leave it all the time because I like to travel.
Yeah,
This is a good base because it's still, and a lot of my friends from college are moving back here. It's conveniently located to the Atlanta airport, so you can get
Sorta.
from here. Well, yeah, 2 hours
that's
away.
my nemesis is getting
no,
to the
getting to the airport is the worst part of any
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah,
But from Atlanta, you can pretty much fly nonstop anywhere. So I like that.
yes.
If I left here, it'd be to move to New Orleans.
Ah,
Yeah, I love New Orleans, and but no, I'm in Athens. I got no plans to go anywhere.
It's
And
funny,
people
s-
quit trying to buy my house.
yes, me too. Me
It
too.
is annoying.
It is
Oh,
annoying.
it's very annoying.
Yeah.
I bought my house for my daughter when she went to UGA, and then we were in Duluth, and I was like, "Let's get out of here and go to Athens."
Heck,
And we have
yeah.
never looked back.
No.
Never.
This is a great.
You would ever
town.
leave either? No.
I love Athens. I really do. And no, I probably won't leave. But if I was going to leave, it would only be because of
What's
I d-
going on?
Yeah.
what's going on in this country.
Hmm.
That would make me
Yes.
leave. If I didn't have 3 cats, I probably wouldn't be here. But
If I
would,
didn't have 2 grandchildren,
yeah, and I mean
Grandchil- I
family
mean-
too. But I've thought about moving to Costa Rica for a long time, or if I could move to because that's only a 4-hour flight.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
like
You'd still
Connor
be
Tribble,
close.
he lives in Mexico
I
and
know.
loves it.
He loves it.
No, but it wouldn't be because of anything, Athens related. But I did want to say you were talking about the thing is back in the day, especially like in the 70s, but I went to school in the 80s, is that the cost of living in Athens was nothing.
I know.
I had a 3-bedroom house off of Millage, and our total rent was $375, and everything was cheap.
Yeah.
It was so cheap to live here, but it's not cheap now. And
No.
I think that for artists, it's got to be tough because Athens. The one thing about Athens is that they do have a reputation of that you can't make a lot of money here.
They do. And I was going to
And
say,
I tell
that was
people when
kind of
they
my
come here.
question
Yeah,
when I was saying get a little political, because
the income is not
they're
tip-
not stopping these people from buying up things to rent.
No, and that's a
It's
travesty.
Yeah.
the little teeny house down the street from me is renting for $2,400.
Yeah.
And I laughed at it. Oh, he's never going to get that. Guess what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's smaller than my house, and my house is 1,750 square feet.
No, the
I mean,
rents have gone up.
almighty.
And also just, have you been to the Rivet House and gotten a
I have
cocktail?
not. I have not, but I want
$20.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
I mean,
But I'll pay it $20 once,
yeah,
just to sit there and look at it
I'm
and
like-
see what it's like.
I pay
never
less
again.
than this when I travel to New York City.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And so everything's getting so expensive. Athens, it's interesting because having lived in Athens and then been in Athens and traveled on the road, like I was in the UK traveling with artists for 3 weeks, and I've done some road work too. And when they find out I'm from Athens, people are just fascinated. They think that it's the land of like pink unicorns.
It's
and
I know.
magic where
It-
the
it-
streets
let me
are
tell
lined
you,
with grass.
When I was in Portugal, I
Yeah.
promoted my podcast, and I tell Guillermo every time. My target is Europe.
yeah,
There
yeah.
was not one place I didn't go that they didn't play and sing American music. They don't play.
But
Portuguese.
Athens has this magical
No,
Yeah,
that's
Athens
right.
does.
Look at all the people that go over there and,
And
do
you
very
get-
well.
You got the great crowds when we used to play in
Yes.
Germany and Belgium and the
Yes.
Netherlands. You make great money. You have great crowds that love you. I
know.
mean, it was very easy to play there.
But a lot of the artists that I've worked with over the years that didn't live in Athens, and they wanted to play in Athens, and I would help them get gigs, but I would always say, "You're not going to make any money," and
But you'll get
cut me through.
noticed.
Yeah,
Bring your merch. Dana will
Yeah.
buy it.
yeah.
I buy everybody's merch.
If you have the talent, there's the possibility you could get noticed. But one thing I've noticed in Athens is since the pandemic, I think that things have really changed.
Oh, it changed everything.
There are a lot less music venues now,
Yes.
and there's like you can't find anything to do like on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday night hardly.
No, but I'll tell you what, you have to, like in our college days, you have to pick where you're going to on the weekend. Because right now, during the students are here, you can't.
Oh,
I
there's
mean,
too much
where are we
to
going to
do,
go?
yeah.
Where,
Mm-mm.
Oh, I want to see that. I want to see that. And,
Mhm.
I feel like I was in college again and trying to decide. Well, I got to tell you guys, we probably could sit here and talk. I don't know. Because we did that night when we first met.
Yeah.
I don't know how long we
But
talked.
we've
We're
got a
chatting.
show to go to.
Yeah.
But
Two
we have a
shows
show.
tonight.
Shows, yes.
2 shows.
Yeah, what's two?
Connor's playing.
Connor's
Oh, yes,
playing,
yes.
and then Abe plays afterwards.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're both back to back.
I loved having him on the show, but I got to tell you, I just loved having you guys come
Well,
on
thank
today.
Our
you.
pleasure.
I mean, I've been waiting and waiting to have you guys come on because I knew it would be fun and a lot of, great stories. So I thank you so much for coming
You
on
are
here.
so welcome.
And let's, maybe I'll still be doing this next year. Who knows,
We can come on
But-
for my 80th birthday.
All right, there we go. Okay, that'll be cool.
That's
I
a
hope
little
I'm around
while.
for you.
That's
right?
a little while.
That's
We'll
a
say
while.
75.
Okay.
How about that?
Hey. Oh.
So thank you, Michelle and Dana, so
You're
much.
so welcome.
Well, we
You're very
appreciate you
welcome.
having us on.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to tell people about getting a hold of you or
No.
anything like that? That's you, Dana. Michelle?
They could go to my very out-of-date website, michelleroche.com, but I'm very active on Facebook.
Okay.
I've got my Michelle Roche Media Relations page, but my personal page is like, it's a free-for-all. Whoever wants to send me a message.
Okay. And that's ROCH, you guys.
ROC.
Oh,
RCHE.
E. I
Roche.
forgot
Yeah.
the E because the Roche sisters. So,
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Roche's.
But it's
Well, I wish
Roche.
I was related to the Roche Pharmaceutical
Oh,
Company,
yeah, I
but
bet you do. Well, thank you again, guys. I can't
You're
wait. And let's
welcome.
party tonight.
Hello, we're ready.
well,
All
I'm
right,
leaving
thanks,
for
Marlene.
Michigan tomorrow, so I can't party too hard.
Oh, okay.
I'm going nowhere, so I will.
I thank you all for listening to Athcast Music. Please share, follow, listen, review, or email me at Marlene at Athcast Music if you have suggestions, or you say you love it, or you might want to suggest a musician. Anything you can do to help my podcast get out there, I would truly appreciate it, because regardless of what you do and don't do, you have to remember, if you don't listen, you can't hear.